How do you sort out the so-called jargon from real-world practices that work? Do the members of your organization find some business or technology advice utterly confusing? Welcome to Real Talk with Sam Holcman. In this program, we set the record straight, and in terms that business people and technology people can understand. Now, here is your host, Sam Holcman.
Welcome to this edition of Real Talk. I'm Sam Holcman. Thanks for joining me. And today's topic is what I call the Deliverables String Test. And what this is a technique that we have used that now we're bringing forward to all of you here that we have found very useful in this age of deliverables and model mania that we seem to be seeing in enterprise architecture and business architecture. Now, you notice that there's a little chuckle in my voice here. And the reason I'm chuckling is that there's constant innovation going on, and that's fantastic. And of course, there's a but. And the but is we got to remember our stakeholders. They're the ones that are holding the check in the checkbook, so to speak. And what is the objective that we're trying to meet when we're doing an enterprise or business architecture? A bunch of models? No. Enabling their enterprise and business strategy. And so what the deliverable string test is sort of like a step back for just a moment. This doesn't take very long to look at what you and I as professional business architects or enterprise architects are doing in light of recognizing the end stakeholder is the one that is actually consuming these things. So what we're talking about here is a technique that is best done with physical paper, not screenshots on a computer screen, for example. Now, you can do that, but it is incredibly impressive. And you can do this at home, or you can do this in your office, or you can do this in your conference room. And what it is, again, the phrase that we use is the deliverable string test. It is a very simple technique that you visualize what is actually happening between yourself as the architect and your stakeholder. So here is the image. Of course, on a podcast, I can't give you the image on a video, a visual. Here's the image. So let's picture a wall. Just a little bit easier to see when we picture a wall. And on the top left-hand corner of that wall, you put a beautiful stick figure of yourself, you as the architect. And on the lower right-hand corner, so diagonal, you put a picture of your stakeholder holding the checkbook or the check or the reward, whatever that is that you're looking at. So you have a rectangle, top left, you the architect, okay, diagonal to that, lower right, the stakeholder. And then what you do, and again, I want to stress here, it is very, very effective if you actually print out every deliverable, every model, every whatever you want to call it, everything that's out there, all these maps and diagrams and all these other things and reports and everything else that you have, all of them, you got to do some inventorying of these things. Grab all of them and paste them up on the wall. There's only one more step. Paste them all up on the wall. And then go to your local yarn store or string store and get some string. And you want two colors, and I'll talk about the two colors in just a moment. The first color you're going to use is you are going to take that piece of string and you're going to attach it to your little stick figure of yourself, and you're going to attach it to the first deliverable that you, as the architect, produce on your way to your stakeholder for your architecture, your business or enterprise architecture. And you continue that flow from every deliverable that's there. And what you'll probably see is sort of like a spider web. I didn't say it was good or bad. And some of the things you got to watch out for are deliverables that have no, in quotes, beginning to another deliverable, and possibly even have no end. In other words, on each deliverable, there should be an input string and an output string. And then what you're going to see there, and why it looks like a spider diagram, is because most organizations and most of us, frankly, haven't thought about what I just am talking to you about. What is the pathway to get to the end state of the stakeholder? Now, once you've done all of that, you're going to take your other color string and you're going to start at your stakeholder now, not at you. And you first, and then with your stakeholder, first you, figure out what is the most direct path to get to the whatever your end state deliverable is to your stakeholder, whatever that is, back to yourself. I'll bet you it will be, hopefully, well, I shouldn't say bet. What I'll say is you hope it's not much of a spider web, as a matter of fact, as a straight line as possible. And the final thing you do is you go to your stakeholder and you don't show them the spider chart, or maybe you want to. Maybe you want to show them the spider wall that's there. Have them verify that here is the end state deliverable of your business or enterprise architecture that's most valuable to them, and then you make that pathway back to yourself. You know what's going to happen? Smiles. Smiles for, first, the stakeholder, and smiles for you, because you are going to get the recognition that you are helping these stakeholders as quickly as possible enable their business and mission strategy. We call it the Deliverables String Test. Try it. Please, when you do, provide me some feedback as to what you're seeing and what the results of that is. What's our objective? To have you become as successful as possible. Thanks for listening. Please do not hesitate to contact me. Be more than happy to give you a little bit of insight here if some things aren't clear to you, or possibly just to discuss business or enterprise architecture in light of what we just talked about. Thanks again. Stay well, stay healthy, and go do business architecture and go do enterprise architecture to enable the organization's strategies.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Talk. Be sure to join your host, Sam Holcman, again for another edition of our program. We'll have more real topics of discussion then.